This is chapter 2 of Magic Tree House, the third book, Mummies in the Morning. Chapter 2. Oh man, mummies! Meow! Jack and Annie looked at the window. The treehouse was perched on top of the palm tree. The tree stood with about a dozen other palm trees. They were in a patch of green surrounded by a desert. Meow! Jack and Annie looked down. The black cat was sitting at the bottom of the tree. The cat's yellow eyes were staring up at Jack and Annie. Hi, Annie shouted. Shh, said Jack. Someone might hear you. In the middle of a desert, said Annie. The black cat stood up and began to walk around the tree. Come on, Annie called. She leaned out the window to see where the cat was going. Oh, wow, she said. Look, Jack. Jack leaned forward and looked down. The cat was running away from the palm trees towards the giant pyramid in the desert. The parade was going on towards the pyramid. It looked exactly like the parade in the Egypt book. There was the cat, by the way. It's a picture from the book, said Jack. What are those people doing? Asked Annie. Jack looked at the Egypt book. He read the words under the picture. When a royal person dies, a grand funeral procession took place. Family, servants, and other mourners followed the coffin. The coffin was called a sarcophagus. It was pulled on a sled by 4 oxen. It's an Egyptian funeral, said Jack. The box is called a Oh, forget it. He looked down out the window again. The oxen, the sled, the Egyptians. The black cat were all moving in a slow, dreaming way. I'd better make some notes about this, said Jack. Jack liked to make notes. He reached into his backpack and pulled out his notebook. Jack wrote coffin called sarcophagus. We better hurry, said Annie, if we want to see the mummy. Annie started down the rope ladder. Jack looked up from his notebook. Mummy, he said. There's probably a mummy in that gold box, Annie called. We're in ancient Egypt, remember? Jack loved mummies. He put down his pencil. Goodbye, Jack, called Annie. Wait, Jack called. Mummies! Annie shouted. Oh, man, said Jack. Mummies. Jack shoved his notebook and the Egypt book into his pack. Then he started down the ladder. When Jack got on the ground, he and Annie took across the sand. As they ran, a strange thing happened. The closer they got to the parade, the harder it was to see it. Suddenly, it was gone. The strange parade had vanished. But the great stone pyramid was still there, towering above them. Panting, Jack looked around. What happened? Where were the people, the oxen, the gold box, the cat? They were gone, said Annie. Where did they go? Maybe they were ghosts, said Annie. Don't be silly. There's no such thing as ghost. It must have been a migrate. A what? A migrate. It happens in a desert all the time, said Jack. It looked like something was there, but it turned out just to be the sunlight reflecting through the heat. How could sunlight look like people and mummies and a bunch of cows? Said Annie. Jack frowned. Ghost, she said. No way, said Jack. Look! Annie pointed at the pyramid. Near the base was a sleek black cat. He was standing alone. He was staring at Jack and Annie. He's no migrate, said Annie. The cat started to slink away. He walked along the side of the pyramid and slid around the corner. Where is he going? Said Jack. Let's find out, said Annie. They dashed around the corner just in time to see the cat disappear in the wall of the pyramid wall. That was chapter 2 of Mummies in the Morning of Magic Tree House by Mary Pope offspring.